When I was a student at King's, for 4 months I was investigated under suspicion of terrorism, not for committing any crime, but because I spoke out against the genocide of my people. In academic spaces, I asked questions, I read news articles, I engaged in conversations, something we're told universities are supposed to encourage, but that was enough to trigger a formal investigation. I was called into disciplinary meetings and hearings. The university hired an external investigator funded by my own tuition fees to scrutinize me. In an instant, I wasn't just a student, I was cast as a threat. For months, I lived in a state of constant anxiety. I was grieving the genocide of my people while having to defend myself against baseless accusations. I couldn't focus on my studies. It was a struggle completing a degree in an institution that was secretly investigating me and watching my every move. Eventually, the investigation concluded that there were no links to terrorism, because there never were. But by then, they had achieved their goal, to threaten people from speaking up. This is what happens when anti-terror laws are allowed to creep into academic life. The line between free speech and so-called moral support for a prescribed group becomes so blurred that even conversation becomes suspicious. The proscription of Hamas effectively bans discussion and allows universities to punish their students for practicing their right to free speech. The fear of being investigated or misunderstood stops people from asking questions, and so for students like me, that meant our right to think, speak, and learn was put under threat. Universities should be spaces of intellectual freedom and discussion, not surveillance or suspicion. The deprescription of Hamas is one necessary step towards reclaiming that space, for freedom of thought, for academic integrity, and for students like me who should have never had to defend ourselves for exercising our voice. It's not about endorsing ideologies, it's about protecting the basic right to free speech and to engage critically with ideas, even uncomfortable ones.